Hi everyone, welcome back to another video from WesKnows Tech News and Reviews. Today we've got a highly important video. We'll be explaining the difference between the AMAZFIT GTR 2, GTR 3, as well as the GTR 3 Pro. Now, I've had a lot of questions on the channel about the differences between these two watches, and should one upgrade from a GTR 2 to a GTR 3 or maybe the 3 Pro? Well, in this video we'll be looking at the differences and answering the question, should you upgrade or not? Let's do it. If you are new to WesKnows Tech News and Reviews, we talk about the latest tech news. We do brutally honest reviews and share hacks and tricks along the way. Right. Let's do a quick summary of the GTR 2, 3 and 3 Pro. What do they have in common? Well, they're all circular. And as you notice, the 3 and the 3 Pro actually have an aluminium case. With the GTR 2, you actually had a choice of the aluminium or the sporty look or the classic look, which had stainless steel. And it did look very classy indeed. In fact, very close to the Huawei Watch 3. Classic. Anyways, back to the AMAZFITs. Now, the classic one was slightly heavier than the others, so 39 grams. If you're looking at the sport ones with an aluminium case, obviously it's lighter than steel, so you're looking at about 30 to 32 grams. For 30 grams on the GTR 2, 32 grams on the 3 and the 3 Pro. Now, these are the minor differences. Now, they're circular. They've got removable 22mm straps. Now, the GTR 2 as well as the GTR 3 have 1.39-inch screens on a case which is very similar in design, 46mm. Now, with the GTR 3 Pro, you're getting the same case size, but your bezels are thinner and you're getting a 1.45-inch AMOLED display. Now, 1.45-inch circular display, that is actually the largest AMOLED display that you can get on the market today. It's larger than on the Samsung Watch 4. It's larger than on the Huawei's. This is absolutely huge. And the fact is, it's an Ultra HD display. And the fact is, what you're getting there is actually 331 PPI. So just over the 326 as standard on the GTR 2 as well as the GTR 3. Also, if you are wondering why is the GTR 3 cheaper than the GTR 2, well, we're going to answer that question right now. Before we get down into the deep details, let's talk about one factor which is very important. So the GTR 2 could actually last you 21 days. Now, the GTR 3 can only last you 14 days. While the GTR 3 Pro can do even less than that, just 12 days. And actually, with my usage or typical usage without always on display, the max I can push out of this watch is 5 to 6 days. So I think that's a major consideration. But now we know that the GTR 2 battery is so good, let's keep going with the rest of the differences. Another major difference is price. You might have noticed that the GTR 2 actually costs more, just a little bit, around 10 bucks more than the GTR 3. There are plenty of reasons for that, and we'll discuss them right away. Now, the GTR 3 as well as the 3 Pro have rotating bezels. Now, that's a very cool function. Is it a gimmick? Well, I don't think so. It does help you more effectively navigate your watch. GTR 2 simply doesn't have it. It's got the usual 2 buttons on the side. Now, if we talk about sensors, the GTR 3 as well as the 3 Pro have the BioTracker 3 version. The 3.0 version is much more accurate in terms of heart rate accuracy. We've been testing the 3 Pro on numerous occasions, and the results we're getting, they're simply stunning and almost unbelievable. They are that good. So that is definitely a big upgrade, because the GTR 2 does use the BioTracker 2.0. It doesn't do a bad job, but it's just not as good as the 3.0. Also, in regards to GPS. Now, with the 3 and the 3 Pro, you get 5 GPS satellites that you can use. So you can use a GPS, GLONASS, Galileo, QZSS, as well as Beidou. Now with the GTR 2, you only had GPS and GLONASS to choose from. And now we get to the crux of the issue. Why is the GTR 3 cheaper than the GTR 2? Well, we mentioned the fact that the GTR 3 does not have a speaker. So that means you can't take calls off your wrist as you can with the GTR 2 as well as the GTR 3 Pro. That is, if your phone is connected to your watch via Bluetooth. So you can literally speak into your wrist and you can hear the other person on the other line clearly. The microphone and speakers are so good that your conversation will be very clear indeed. Another major factor is that the GTR 2 and the 3 Pro have Bluetooth as well as Wi-Fi connectivity. GTR 3 has only Bluetooth connectivity. Another major downside of having just the GTR 3 versus the GTR 2 or the outgoing model. You see, GTR 2 had music storage. You had 3 GB allocated for music. Now on the GTR 3, there is no music storage, none. GTR 3 Pro does offer just over 2 gigs, but again, GTR 3 doesn't. So we can see that the GTR 3 is slightly less functional than the GTR 2. It doesn't have music storage, it doesn't have a speaker, but what it does have is a better buyer tracker sensor. It's also got more sport modes, 150 sport modes. It's got much better satellite positioning. It's got 5 GPS satellite networks that it can actually connect to, so it will give you more accuracy on that front. Now we've been checking the heart rate accuracy and step count accuracy, and we can see that the GTR 3 buyer tracker is amazing. It's really good, and it is better than the GTR 2. But then again, you are missing out on your connectivity, and of course you're missing out on the music storage, and you're missing out on a speaker. Anyways, but the GTR 3 Pro is the most expensive model for a reason. The fact is, it's absolutely great. It's got the speaker, it's got music storage, it's got a better buyer tracker than the GTR 2. So if you have a GTR 2 and you're thinking, should I upgrade to a GTR 3? No, I don't think you should. If you do want to make a real upgrade, then you should go for the GTR 3 Pro. More sport modes, better GPS, and of course you get a much bigger screen. Well, 1.45 inch versus 1.39 does not sound like a lot, but when you look at the thin bezels on this display, you will see a magnitude of a difference. Also, this screen is brighter. Now of course the downside is shorter battery life, but again, with such a huge and bright screen, sacrifices have to be made somewhere. Thankfully, they're not in the accuracy department. Now, before we finish off this video, I do want to say that the GTR 3 and the 3 Pro have a major advantage over the GTR 2, and that is continuous SpO2 monitoring. So that means you've got continuous blood oxygen saturation monitoring that can help you identify while you're at rest symptoms of apnea or other respiratory conditions. So I think that the GTR 3 and the 3 Pro are definitely worthwhile opponents to the GTR 2, but I would not be upgrading from a GTR 2 to a GTR 3. I would be upgrading only to the GTR 3 Pro. Now, if you are looking at your first smartwatch of the AMAZFIT flagship range, I would actually do a trick here. If you don't want to splash out for the 3 Pro, find yourself a nice end-of-year discount for the GTR 2, because that's an outgoing model. There's going to be massive sales, and you'll most likely be able to get it at half price of the GTR 3 and practically get the same functionality, except for the little bits here and there. But there's a trade-off, because again, the price will be just so much better. Anyways, thank you for watching this review of the GTR 2, 3 and 3 Pro. If you did enjoy the content, please drop me a like. If you want to see more of the same, please hit the red subscribe button below the video, and I'll see you in the next one.